إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن خير الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدى هدى محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. My dear respected brothers, there are certain qualities in a believer which Allah Azza wa Jal praises and loves. And the believer tries his best at all times to have within him all of those qualities which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with from character. And there is no doubt that from the greatest qualities or attributes that the believer can have which is pleasing to Allah is patience. Patience, my dear brothers, is a quality which Allah Azza wa Jal loves. And true patience, according to the Sharia, is only granted to those who Allah has allowed Iman to penetrate their hearts. Because when you look at the definition of patience in Islam, it has a great meaning. And it is not what you and I or many people might assume it is. Patience has a detailed explanation in Islam. And it has a specific definition. If you and I want to be from those who are patient, we must have these qualities that are mentioned in the definition of patience. And those qualities are, as the scholars of Islam said, patience is number one, to prevent the nafs against what Allah has prohibited. This is the first condition of patience, that you prevent your nafs, your soul, yourself. And what is the soul and the self? Allah Azza wa Jal calls it ammaratun bisu. It calls you to evil. And that is why the definition of patience is to restrain yourself and to hold yourself, your nafs, from that which Allah has prohibited. This is the first condition. The second is to train yourself to do what Allah Azza wa Jal has commanded. Because this also requires patience. Just as it requires patience to avoid the haram, patience is needed to do what Allah has commanded. And that is why only the believers are true worshippers to Allah. Because they train their nafs upon this. They train it with patience in ibadah. Patience to make wudu and to pray until it becomes a pleasure for them. This is the quality of the mu'min. And the third condition of patience, my dear brothers, is to prevent your soul from being displeased with what Allah has decreed. This is also patience. That you train your nafs, that whatever Allah decrees, you are not angry with it. And you are content with the qadr of Allah Azza wa Jal at all times. Because from Iman, one of the pillars of Iman is to believe in the qadr, both its good and its evil. For the mu'min never accuses Allah wal-iyadu billah. never blames Allah, never questions Allah, no. But if a calamity befalls him, he is patient. Patient as the prophets and the messengers were patient in the face of calamities. And that is why Allah loves this quality, because it is a true quality of a mu'min. And Allah Azza wa Jal praised those who are patient in the Quran in many places. But from the greatest verses is where Allah Azza wa Jal reminds us that He will test us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ. Allah Azza wa Jal says, and certainly we will test you. You, O son of Adam, will be tested. We will test you with something from the loss, from fear. We will test you with fear and hunger and the loss of wealth and the loss of life and the loss of your produce, your gainings. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. Even though you will be tested, give glad tidings, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, to those who are patient. وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. Give them glad tidings of Jannah. But then Allah does not stop there. He teaches us who are these patient ones that He has given glad tidings to. He says, الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. Those who, when a calamity befalls them, they say, verily to Allah we belong, and verily to Him we will return. And what is their reward? What is their reward for their patience? أُولَٰئِكَ عَلَيْهِمْ صَلَوَاتٌ مِّن رَبِّهِمْ وَرَحْمَةٌ وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُهْتَدُونَ. Indeed, upon them is the salah of Allah and His mercy, and verily each one of them will be guided. The great scholar Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah, he said in one of his great statements, he said, the patient person, Allah has given him three things. Each one of those three things is greater than this entire world and everything in it. And wallahi, it is. Pay attention. Three things Allah gives the patient, each one greater than the dunya and everything it contains. The first one, as he mentioned in the verse, أُولَٰئِكَ عَلَيْهِمْ صَلَوَاتٌ مِّن رَبِّهِمْ. Upon them is the salah of Allah. What is the salah of Allah upon His servant? The salah of Allah upon His servant is that He praises Him and mentions Him in the highest and loftiest of gatherings amongst the angels. This is the first thing granted to the patient one. But when you are patient and you show patience for Allah, it is enough that Allah mentions you by name. To who? To the malaika in the heavens. What an honor. What an honor for those who show patience. The second one that Allah grants the patience is His rahmah. His mercy, my brothers. And who from us is not in need of Allah's mercy? When the Prophet ﷺ himself said, none of you will enter Jannah except through Allah's rahmah. They said, not even you, O Messenger of Allah. He said, not even me, unless Allah covers me with His mercy. None of you will enter through His actions. For it is enough of a reward that you earn the rahmah of Allah Azza wa Jal through your patience. And the third one, وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُهْتَدُونَ. And they will be guided, and they are the guided ones. Every day in our salah we ask Allah to guide us upon the straight path. Through your patience you earn the guidance of Allah. How wonderful is this for the mu'min. While many are led astray, Allah places him on the straight path. For my dear brothers, patience is a great quality which Allah Azza wa Jal expects from the mu'min. And the best of patience is when you go through a hard time in your life. If Allah Azza wa Jal has tested you with something, patience at that time is the best type of patience. Salama radiyallahu ta'ala anha wa ardaha, when her husband, the great Sahabi Abu Salama, passed away, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, she narrated the hadith where she said that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in the hadith, ما من عبد تصيبه مصيبة فيقول إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون اللهم أجرني في مصيبتي وأخلف لي خيرا منها إلا آجره الله في مصيبته وأخلف له خيرا منها. She mentioned this hadith. She said that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, there is no slave of Allah who is inflicted with a calamity and says, Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Oh Allah, reward me with the calamity that has befallen me and replace it with something better for me. This is the dua that is said when a calamity befalls you. Salama radiyallahu anha, she said when Abu Salama passed away, I made this dua. And part of the dua is to say and replace it with something better. She said, I made this dua asking myself, who is better than Abu Salama? He was a great husband to her. And after his death, who proposed to her? Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. She became the wife of the Prophet of Allah. So this is patience, my dear brothers. No matter what you go through, if Allah takes something from you, have faith and yaqeen that He will replace it with something better for you. This is how the mu'min deals with his situations. And it is enough that the Prophet that Allah Azza wa Jal said in the Quran, Inna Allah ma'as sabirin, that Allah is with those who are patient. Do you know what Allah being with you means? It does not only mean that Allah is with you, that He is with you. Allah being with you means He protects you. He looks after you. He will look after your affairs. He will be there for you. He will answer your dua. As long as you show patience. And that is why one of the Salaf, Abu Ali al-Daqqaq, rahimahullah, he said, the patient ones, they are the winners of both worlds. The patient, they win both worlds, this dunya and the akhirah. Why? He said, because Allah is with them. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين من كل ذنب فاستغفروا إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده وعلى آله وصحبه ومن سن بسنته وصار على نهجه بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد. My dear brothers, there is no doubt that the mu'min in his life has his ups and downs. And he faces tests. And there is no doubt that it is the nature of man that he becomes sad. And he becomes upset. And he feels grief. And he grieves over things that befall him. This does not nullify patience. Even the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he felt grief. And he cried at the death of his children, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But he only spoke and performed that which pleases Allah Azza wa Jal. And that is the mu'min. He does not lose himself when he faces calamity. He does not slap his cheeks and rip his clothes. He does not abuse and oppress at the fall of a calamity. No. He shows patience. And that is why the Prophet ﷺ said, amazing is the affair of the believer. The believer's affair is amazing at all times. He says his affair is always good. The Prophet ﷺ is amazed at the affair of the mu'min. You, my dear brother, he is amazed at your affair. Why? He said his affair is always good. If good comes to him, he thanks Allah and that is best for him. This is the mu'min. When good comes to him, he thanks Allah and that is good to him. And when evil falls upon him, he shows patience and that is best for him. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, and that is only for the mu'min. No one else, my dear brother. The one who has certainty in his heart that his affairs are in the hands of Allah alone. For he is always content no matter what happens. If it is good, he says Alhamdulillah. He thanks Allah. And if it is not good, he shows patience and perseverance. And he raises his hands to Allah to change his affairs. And he remains patient upon that. And never loses hope in Allah Azza wa Jalla. But we have to be careful, my dear brothers, that we do not fall into what many people fall into these days, when they fall into a calamity, where they say, why me? Why did this happen to me? Wal-iyadhu billah. Questioning Allah and His wisdom and His decree. This is something the believer is far from, but rather he shows contentment and patience at all times. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to grant us patience. And we ask Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to rectify our affairs and the affairs of the Muslims worldwide. We ask Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to ease the affairs on our Muslim brothers and sisters worldwide at the hands of oppression worldwide. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون فاذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون.